All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I know a few people weren't able to join us today at this specific day and time, but they were interested in the information. So I am recording this session and I will be sending out the slides as well as a recording of the presentation a little bit later today or first thing tomorrow. So for those of you who are able to join, thank you so much for attending. My name is Cara Miller and I am the dietitian covering the greater Nashville area for Sodexo universities, one of which of the accounts is Belmont Dining. So I'm excited to talk about food allergies at Belmont today. I know I met many of you at your orientation over the last few weeks, and I'm excited to see you again as you get back on campus in August. This is my information. I'm Cara, the dietitian. I have a bunch of contact information for not only myself, but more of our culinary team later in the presentation. But I wanted to let you know that I am a dietitian at Belmont University and I am Allergen Certified. I'm also certified to teach the class. So I'm excited to be here with you today. I have muted the lines for now just because we are recording, but you are able to unmute at the end of the presentation if you have any questions. I'll also exit out of the screen. I'm not able to see the chat feature while I'm in this presentation mode, but following, I will close out and we'll be able to either use the chat feature or you can unmute yourself. I do ask that any real specific questions do hold off. We can set up an individual appointment. I'm happy to talk through any questions that you have specific to you at a later time. I want to make sure that everything stays HIPAA compliant and private if you'd prefer it to be that way. I know that everyone's medical conditions and food allergies are very individualized, and so I'm going to go over an overview today of food allergies at Belmont University, but I realize this may not cover all of the information that you need to know. So again, please feel free to reach out following this presentation if you have additional questions specific to you. The first thing we're going to talk about is Harrington Place Dining. This is where you'll use the main meal swipe. So most of the people listening to this presentation are incoming freshmen. Freshmen have 14 meals per week to use in the dining hall. And this is our one and only location located in the Johnson building, Harrington Place Dining. That's where you ate during orientation. So it is an all you care to eat dining facility. You swipe in, you can eat as much as you'd like there, and you have full access to the dining hall. However, your safest station is going to be Simple Servings. Simple Servings is our allergen-friendly station. Again, you probably saw it during orientation, but if you weren't able to attend, it's right between the 360 Mongolian Grill and that pizza line. So it's right in between there. That's where Simple Servings is. It's open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. So that does add up to those 14 meals if you're looking to have lunch and dinner in the dining hall. It does not include ingredients containing peanuts, tree nuts, wheat, soy, eggs, dairy, shellfish, or gluten. So we do cover a lot with this very one station. The one thing that I love to stress about this is that everyone that works this station is specifically allergen trained. They use purple separate cutting boards and equipment. Everything is processed on a separate line. Everything that we can is made in front of you. So a lot of stuff we do have to prepare ahead of time a little bit in the back, like our meat products and things. But if we're able to cook anything out front so everyone can see, that helps with our transparency as well. Everything is really well labeled. Of course, it won't include these allergens, but if they were there, everything in the dining hall does have top 8 labeling. But does not account for cross contact. I'll talk about that on a later slide as well. So as mentioned, this Simple Serving station is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. We always include a protein, a vegetable, and a gluten-free starch. Our chef does a great job of rotating the menu and trying to get in some different variety here. Usually it's a chicken or turkey. Sometimes we do serve fin fish here. I know that's a top 8 allergen, but we do serve fin fish at this station occasionally. So if you do have an allergy, let me know. The other thing that we serve frequently here for our plant-based diners are beans. And I do know that some students with severe peanut allergies are not able to eat in certain beans. So if that's a concern, please contact me afterward. We can talk through some of those details. Another fun thing about this station is that at least 2 or 3 days a week at lunch, it's a build your own saute or stir fry concept. So lots of vegetables, again, the beans, either a turkey or a chicken with some sauces that are allergen friendly, allergen free. and they just make it to order. So you can put whatever you like in there, and rice usually, and they'll toss it up right in front of you, which is really nice. It's a made to order kind of thing. So you get to choose what ingredients are included. The other way you can get in some additional vegetables that would be a safe option is to go to our salad bar station. We do keep many salad ingredients underneath the station that are prepped in a separate produce prep area. So those can be pulled from our backup supply. We ask that you go to that station, say, "Hi, I'm Susie. I have an allergy. Could you please pull from the backup supply? I would like lettuce, carrots, tomato," for example. And they would pull it from the backup supply after washing their hands, changing gloves, and we will pull that for you so you could have a safe salad option. As many of you are aware, the salad bar can be loaded with allergens. So that we try to put the produce first, our vegetable toppings, and then towards the end, we'll put the shredded cheese and the hard-boiled eggs and the salad dressings and the croutons to try to consolidate, but there is a risk of cross-contact. So we don't ask that you self-serve yourself at the salad bar, especially if you are sensitive to cross-contact. If you're just trying to avoid gluten or milk, that's one thing. But if you do have severe allergies to cross contact, please don't self-serve because there is a risk of cross contact at that station. Allergen Certified, I mentioned this, but all of our managers, chefs, and simple serving staff have completed the Allergen certification. This is an in-depth, almost 2-hour class plus 30-question exam. It goes over cross contact, emergency procedures, signs and symptoms of an allergic reaction, and top 8 allergens in detail about reading labels and how to prepare safe foods. So this is a great training for all of our culinary staff. We always have one chef on staff for each meal service. So if you do have questions, you're always welcome to ask for a manager or a chef to help you navigate your options. But again, that simple serving station, particularly for lunch and dinner, is going to be one of your safest places to eat. I like to mention the Bite app here. This is an app you can download by Sodexo. It includes our daily menu on it. It won't include single ingredients like at the salad bar, lettuce, shredded carrots, etc., but it will include anything that has a recipe. So this is one that I pulled from April. It's not from Simple Servings because I wanted you to be able to see our labeling system. So it will label top 8 allergens here, but however, it does not account for cross contact. So if you're looking at the entree and you see, there's the pork meatballs contains fish, Asian noodle stir fry has wheat and soy. The General Tso's chicken has milk, egg, wheat, and soy. So you can see the allergens are listed. However, a lot of our stations are self-serve, things dribble around. And so we want to make sure that you're extra safe and really account for cross contact. So please don't self-serve. It's really just to help you navigate your options. You may want to see what is going to be served for lunch at Simple Servings that day. It breaks it down by day, then meal period, and then by station. So you'll actually see instead of dinner entree, it will actually say simple servings, and you can look at that as well. But that's just to give you a good idea of what's there. If you have questions, again, please don't hesitate to ask for a chef or a manager. Our supervisors are also trained and can help you navigate your options. But again, just because something does not have the allergen in it, if you are sensitive to cross contact, it may have come in contact with something, except at that simple serving station where it's a served station on a clean plate. Everything is made on separate equipment with specific ingredients and specific recipes that have been vetted by Sodexo. You may have seen on this previous slide some of these other icons, so I wanted to inform you of what those meant. Mindful is our healthy choice. There's different criteria for entree, desserts, etc., but mindful essentially means you're choosing a healthy option. Vegan is green, it's double letters, so vegan does not include any animal products, and vegetarian does include some. So if there is milk and egg, it can be labeled as vegetarian, but those cannot be included if it's labeled as vegan. Most of the students I talked with during orientation had nut allergies. There were multiple others as well, but the recurring theme, the most common ones I saw were nut allergies. So I wanted to do just one specific slide on nuts. We do not serve any peanuts or tree nuts in the dining hall in the recipes. However, some of our items are made on lines that process peanuts and tree nuts. So for example, you will never see a Moose Tracks ice cream in the dessert station. However, even our vanilla ice cream has possibly been processed on a line with peanuts or tree nuts. So again, if you're sensitive to cross contact, please be mindful of that. We do have peanut butter over by the toast station and bagels. If you have a peanut or tree nut allergy and you're just not even wanting to go over by the peanut butter, because we all know that at home, many students without allergies are perfectly fine dunking their peanut butter knife into their jelly. We want to make sure that we're safe for cross contact. So our supervisors are very familiar with this request. If you would like a bagel or bread with jelly, for example, they can pull that from the backup supply. You just want to ask for our supervisors. They wear a navy polo shirt, so they can be easy to identify in the dining hall. The other one that we do serve in the dining hall is almond milk. We keep it behind the entree line on the bottom shelf of the refrigerator and only give it out upon request. We try to keep it as consolidated as possible, but we do get a lot of requests for almond milk from some of our vegan students. So again, we're trying to keep it as safe as possible, limiting the options, but you will never see peanuts or tree nuts in any of the recipes in the dining hall. So if you have questions about that, again, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to go over this in more detail. I did want to cover our retail on-campus restaurants as well. Chick-fil-A does use the refined peanut oil. Many of you are familiar with that. McAllister's Deli has some salads that do contain almonds and pecans. Starbucks, of course, is now going with lots of nut milks. That's something regulated by Sodexo. I'm sorry, by Starbucks. So that's something we don't usually change, but just so you're aware. Freshens is our smoothie station. They do have a designated peanut butter blender. However, it is at the station. So I just always be very cautious. They do their best to prevent cross contact, but it is there. So there is a risk, as well as almonds and pecans for some of their acai bowls. Corner Court is going to be one of the safer places. We don't serve peanut butter sandwiches there. It's a deli station, Boar's Head Meat, and a salad toss station. It's up in the Massey Business Center. So this is one that a lot of students with peanut and tree nut allergies like to frequent for lunch for a retail option. They also have many convenience items that are pre-packaged, so you can read the labels there based on the manufacturer requirements for labeling. I wanted to note Simply To Go. These are items that we make on campus in-house. They are served in the dining hall as a meal swipe exchange and at some of our retail locations. These are not safe for students with allergies. Though they may not contain something, they are all processed on the same equipment, on the same line. So there is a risk of cross contact. One example I always give is if a student pulls a turkey sandwich with cheese on it, it's made on the same line as the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We do have disclaimers up for this, but just so that you're aware before you arrive, that there is a risk of cross contact. They do, use a separate loaf of bread. They clean the station. Our employees are excellent at trying to prevent cross contact, but there is a risk there as well. In the bakery for the retail locations, there's different places you can get like a chocolate chip cookie or a blueberry muffin. These do not contain peanuts or tree nuts. We're very careful about that. However, our manufacturers, some of them are processed on a line with peanuts and tree nuts. For example, the chocolate chip cookies I know are processed on a line that also processes nuts. So if you have additional questions about that, especially as we get closer to semester starting, I'm happy to go through some labels. I'm also always happy to walk you through some storerooms, set up an appointment with me. If you're wanting to look at some labels or look at our process, we try to be very transparent. I'm happy to schedule an appointment with you so you can see where some of the items are prepped or review labels at a non-peak time. I know a lot of students don't want to be reading labels in the middle of lunch when they're trying to have lunch with friends. So I'm happy to set up a separate time so that you can view additional information if you'd like. I just mentioned that some of our to-go items will not be safe for you. So what then, Cara? Or what about, you mentioned lunch and dinner, but not breakfast. What then, Cara? So there are some things that might be lower risk, just depends on what specific allergies you have. So again, I'm happy to speak with those to you individually. But one thing that I would like you to do is register with our Office of Accessibility. I put the website there, or you can scan the QR code and request accommodation. I circled it right there at the bottom, the link to click on. It's an easy form. You just fill out your name and email. I think there's a place for your student ID. But one thing you should have before you fill this out is a PDF of a doctor's note stating your specific allergy diagnosis. We're looking for a medical diagnosis with a corresponding medical nutrition therapy. Pretty transparent, pretty easy to follow when we have allergies. If you have a severe milk allergy, you're going to carry your EpiPen and not eat milk sensitive to cross contact. If you have a medical condition that's requiring you to eliminate some of these foods, that can also be stated there, as long as the diagnosis that you have is corresponding with the nutrition that you're trying to accomplish. The reason I say this is if we need to go and take additional accommodation requests, if we have that documentation on hand, it really streamlines the process. We want to make sure that we are giving priority for any of these accommodations to students who need it, and not just for students who have a preference. We want to make sure top priority goes to students who have a medical diagnosis requiring the additional accommodations. So that may mean something that's made ahead for breakfast so we can reduce the risk of cross contact. They are looking right now at to-go options for the dining hall. This last year with COVID, a lot of things were allowed to go, and we're looking into those options right now. As we get closer to semester, I'll have additional details on that, but some of these accommodations then may help with that as well. I think we're going to have some kind of reusable to-go box, try to be a little bit more sustainable moving forward, which would allow one meal to go out of the dining hall. But if for some reason that is not accomplished by fall, that would be another reason to file with this accessibility. So we could discuss what the accommodation might be to allow a to-go meal, since the simply to-go is not safe for students with severe allergies. We talked about a lot of things. The dining staff is responsible for creating the labels to label the top 8 allergens. However, we do not guarantee no cross contact except for the simple servings station. Our staff will understand the risks of cross contact, signs and symptoms of allergic reaction, and who to contact if there is an on-campus emergency, and make sure that students are appropriately accommodated based on disability. Some food allergies do qualify to the level of a disability. We want to make sure that you are appropriately accommodated. That is the dining hall's responsibility. The students do also have some responsibility. We want to make sure that students always carry their epinephrine devices with them. I put EpiPen. I realize there's multiple brands. We do not have stock epinephrine on campus, so it will be the student's responsibility to carry their epinephrine device with them. We do have an on-campus pharmacy, and with a medical prescription, they can be refilled at our pharmacy, but again, we do not have stock epinephrine on campus. We are also asking students to carefully read labels, but also be aware that cross contact could have occurred. So read the label carefully, and if you have questions, please ask. Never assume, never guess. Most students with allergies are aware of that, but our dining team is ready to help. We just have to have you ask and speak to us. The more communication, the better. We'll get to know you, you'll get to know us, and it'll be great. Everyone will be more than happy to help you out. Another area to speak with would be your roommates or the resident life office. It's really helpful if your RA, your resident assistant on the floor, student supervisor, and the resident director, who's the adult staff member in the hall, knows about your food allergy, as well as your roommates. This just can help streamline processes and conversations should you need to have the conversation about no peanut butter in the room because of a severe peanut allergy. Make sure your friends are aware, even some of the signs and symptoms, where you keep your epinephrine device. We realize that not all allergic reactions happen in a dining hall or even in the dorm room. Maybe you're out with friends. So this is more specific, not specific to dining hall, but more general for the overall university experience. But making sure that the people around you really are your new tight-knit group. Your family has done an excellent job of providing that support over the last few years. And as you venture out into some of these new endeavors and new restaurants and new places, making sure that you have people around you who understand your allergies will be really important. Last but not least, schedule an appointment with me. I know I've met with a few of you already, which has been wonderful, and we can talk specifically about your allergies and how to navigate your specific options. So again, this is an overview today, and I'm happy to set up an individual appointment if you need additional information. I wanted to give you our website here. This is the belmont.sodexomyway website. You can find our menus here if you're not looking to download the Bite app, what's open and when, the Meet the Team page, which I'll show you in just a second, our social media information, and any special events. So this is a great website. My contact information is on here too under the Nutrition tab. Make sure that you're staying in touch. Again, the website is listed here and our Instagram accounts. My phone number is also here. I put this on here because it's my work cell number. So though I don't consult over text, if you have a quick question or say, hey, Cara, are you available for appointment on Monday? I'm so-and-so. I can set up an appointment that way, and I'll either set up a virtual appointment. I'll send you an email with a virtual appointment link, or you're welcome to call the phone as well. I wanted to give you our other phone numbers. Our chef, executive chef, John Williams, is wonderful. Feel free to contact him anytime. Susan Matheson is our general manager, Craig Grinke, our operations director, and you'll see Sherry Lang around a lot as well down at the bottom left. She is our dining manager, all really helpful. And Chef Grant is the face of our dining hall. You'll see him around a lot. In catering, Rebecca Mahia, if you need anything from her, she is happy to help if you have a catered event with student staff, things like that. And Brandy Whitler is our retail manager. So all of these people are wonderful. If I missed anybody, it wasn't intentional. You're welcome to reach out to any of them at any time. They have all completed their allergy training and are ready to help in any way that we can. I'm ready to answer any questions. I realized this was a lot of information, and I did go over peanuts and tree nuts specifically. I didn't talk through all the gluten-free options. If that's something that you're interested in, we can talk about that, or you can set up a separate appointment and I can walk you through the options. But again, keeping in mind that we have a lot of gluten-free options, but some are not necessarily free from cross contact for those with celiac disease or severe wheat allergies. I'm going to exit out of this screen, and then I will be able to answer any additional questions. So thank you so much for listening to the presentation. I'm going to hop over to any questions that might be coming through.
I think my only question was just about the bean thing because I'm allergic to beans. So should I just ask before in the simple servings?
So beans specifically are a hard question. We may be including more beans this year because we've had a lot of students who are gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, and so they're looking for plant-based options. So that might be a question that we can talk about separately and just see. I haven't gotten the full menus yet. Chef is finishing them shortly for what the semester looks like. On days when beans are going to be served, we can look at that Bite app ahead of time and see what menu items might be served. That may be an appropriate time to file with Office of Accessibility if you haven't already done so, so that they have the documentation that you are not allowed to have beans. And then that can justify us potentially to be making something separate on those days that beans are served at simple servings to make sure that you have a safe option.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I will be sending out the recording. I realize it was a general overview as we discussed, but that way you'll have that information, my information as well. So again, if you wanted to set up an individual appointment or quick phone call to chat through details that are specific to you, I'm happy to do that. I have my schedule for the rest of this week is a little bit full, but the next couple of weeks are fairly open. So we'll be able to get something on the calendar fairly quickly.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm so excited for everyone to get back to campus. Everyone's planning all kinds of great things. All the departments are so excited to have students back again and be able to run fun activities. And I even know a few resident assistants. I know all the resident life staff, and they're getting geared up to have students back. So August will be here before we know it, and everyone is just very, very thrilled to have people a little bit back to normal and be able to socialize and plan some fun events and stuff again. It's going to be a great semester.
Yes, I'm excited.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions kind of for the group, I think I will stop the recording and hang up here. But please, please feel free to contact me anytime if you have questions. Please don't be a stranger. If you have questions throughout the semester, I don't want to hear in December that we had trouble starting in September and I didn't know. I want to make sure that you guys feel safe going through your options. You feel like you have ample variety, things like that. So please reach out anytime so I can help navigate your options and start some of the communication with our culinary team if that's warranted. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for joining, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.